everybody, and welcome to the weekly Scopes from the 9th until the 15th of February. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I, formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs, the Western signs, shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra-parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination, either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contra-parallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contra-parallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contra-parallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contra-parallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contra-parallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contra-parallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contra-parallels and parallels are. Okay, so we've got a few aspects influencing us this week. This week we've got, firstly, Mars is trine to Saturn, and this came in on the 6th of February and leaves us on the 13th of February, and Mars is in Gemini and Saturn's in Aquarius. Venus makes a contra-parallel to Saturn. This is exact on the 13th of February. This entered on the 9th of February and leaves us on the 19th, so lasting us right up until mid next week as well. And Venus is in Pisces. The Sun also makes a parallel to Mercury, so it's the same as a conjunction, and the contra-parallel is the same as an opposition. They work the same way, and this is exact on the 15th of February and leaves us on the 20th of February, and the Sun and Mercury are both in Aquarius. So this week, Mars is trine to Saturn. It brings a blend of action and discipline. It helps us to sort of sharpen our ambition, our goals, and Saturn provides that, grounding, stabilizing influence in Aquarius, allowing us to be detached, productive, go after long-term goals, starting things we've been putting off or we haven't worked on for a long time. We can just have more enthusiasm and focus towards dead projects, if you want to call them that, revisiting old arguments in relationships, sorting old issues, and it allows us to have positive outcomes because it increases our motivation, allows us to make clearer decisions and to execute our plans more efficiently, and it allows us to work with others, which is needed to sort out problems, right? And not just sorting out problems, all types of teamwork as well. We can just become more innovative in teams, and psychologically it wants us to find a balance between meeting our desires, our sort of like we may like to have a drink or smoke, or overindulge in food or sets and stuff like that. So he wants us to find a balance between meeting our desires, our needs, and our responsibilities, you know. And we can just have more commitment this week because of this influence, because it allows us to confront any issues with self-doubt, procrastination, low self-esteem, you know. It wants us and supports us in working through issues in such a way that if they have been holding us back, and if we really are willing to work with this energy, we can really make great progress ahead. On the spiritual and esoteric levels, it allows us to really learn the lessons of perseverance, keeping going after each failure, you know, and patience. It wants us to explore how our actions and words contribute or take away from our own greater good or other people's greater good, you know. And it wants us to mix our personal goals, you know, going after what we want, our ego needs, with community values, and thinking about what humanity needs as a collective as well. We just need to watch out for becoming inflexible as well, and too critical of ourselves and others, you know, wanting things to be perfect, and there's no such thing. So we just need to balance being assertive with being flexible this week, to avoid, you know, us becoming stubborn or complacent, you know, just not thinking about things, not checking the small details, making mistakes that could have been prevented by us taking care with what we're doing. Venus's contra-parallel to Saturn allows us to deal with complex emotions this week, bringing structure to our artistic, our creative plans, and our relationships as well. So this energy is really good for us to work through relationship issues, but because Venus is in Pisces and it's about to go retrograde in Pisces, so it's in its shadow period now, we can just struggle with telling reality from fantasy this week. So we just have to watch out and make sure we set boundaries, don't ignore the red flags, and protect our emotional well-being, and, you know, work on building those deeper connections with ourselves and others, you know, enjoying our imagination, watching films, listening to ethereal music and poetry and all of that, but just make sure we, you know, don't blur the boundaries, and we keep ourselves grounded so we can tell fantasy, you know, and we can tell what's real, you know. So negatively, we can just feel restricted with this energy, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually burdened, way down, you know. It adds to the criticism that we can have of ourselves and others this week, and we just need to watch out for, you know, just feeling kind of critical or just isolated with this energy can make us want to withdraw from ourselves and life rather than engage. You know, Venus in Pisces, Neptune energy always brings us, you know, wanting to indulge more in our intoxicating substances. We may take alcohol, you know, things that are not good for us, distracting ourselves from the practicalities. So psychologically, it supports us with our self-reflection and thinking about why we say and do the things we do, and why we allow the things in our relationships that we do. Our relationships good, are they toxic? If there are toxic, how can we make them more healthy? How can we protect our relationship from toxicity if it's currently healthy? You know, thinking of ways to maybe have spontaneous date night this week, you know, take some time out for romance as well. Some of you may have fears that get in the way of you being able to give and receive love this week freely, and it's a sort of like energy that can just really, it's good for self-reflection, especially about our commitment issues, unresolved issues with heartbreak and trauma, you know, working through those secrets, you know, Pisces 12th house energy, the lies we tell to ourselves, the habits that we're not aware of that undo us, that stop our progress, right? So esoterically, this energy wants us to explore the interplay, the coincidences between love and responsibility, and how to receive and give love. We need to be responsible. It's a commitment, right? We have to work at these things daily, right? So it pushes us and supports us to balance that honours both our heart and our commitments, you know, our need for love, but our need for practicality and logic as well, you know. So the Pisces energy makes us more empathetic and compassionate as well. Saturn allows us to, you know, be innovative, redefine, rethink and add newness into our life as well, and do the things that feel authentic to us. The Sun's parallel to Mercury increases our communication and intellectual confidence, so it's a great energy for all sales talk, research. It encourages us to express our unique ideas and engage in thought-provoking discussions, and it gives us a greater capacity for problem solving and the ability to connect with others on a mental level, so it makes it a great energy for brainstorming and working with others. But we can just be kind of like overthinkery, and it adds to us being overly critical of ourselves and others. So this is a lot of energy that can cause miscommunications and misunderstandings, because of we're not understanding what people say, or we're saying things hastily, or we're gossiping and things like that this week. Mercury, Gemini energy, third house energy, right? So there can be increasing arguments. So walk away, think before you react and act this week as well. And psychologically, this energy helps us to think about how our personal beliefs align with our authentic needs and real opinions, because a lot of the time the things we believe in are not what we actually believe in. We believe in things that we're told to believe in by our parent society. So this energy, intellectual, do the research, think about why you do the things you do and express yourself in the ways that you do, and it wants us to integrate our mental processes and our authentic self-expression. So it symbolically, spirituality symbolizes a meeting, a fusion of our consciousness and communication. So it wants us to use our authentic voice to not only inspire others but ourselves, to uplift ourselves this week. And esoterically, it invites us to explore new ideas and tap into the collective consciousness, helping us to uplift it, and contribute to the greater good with, positive ideas and intellectual curiosity this week as well. So that's the main influences that are guiding us this week. Now I'm just going to talk about the additional aspects, and as well as give the times when the aspects that I've just talked about that's controlling us this week, the major influences, or the rest that I'm going to talk about are subtle influences that last 2 to 3 days over the week. So on the 9th of February, the Sun's conjunction to Mercury is the same as the Sun's parallel to Mercury, and this is exact at 12:08 today. The Mars is trying to Saturn is exact at 1:15 today, and the Moon enters void, of course, at 7:57. So again, the Sun's conjunction with Mercury supports us to get our thoughts and ideas across effectively and gives us that confidence. Mars is trying to Saturn, brings that discipline and focus to our actions. And when the Moon's in void, of course, it's just a good energy to take some time out and to chill with. On the 10th of February, the Moon enters Cancer and Mercury makes a square to Uranus at 7:28 p.m. and the Moon enters Cancer at 6:27 a.m. in the morning, and all times are in GMT British time, daylight saving time at the moment. So when the Moon's in Cancer, it brings a sense of security and comfort throughout the next few days, allowing us to nurture good for date nights, but we just need to watch out for mood swings and stuff like that as well. Mercury square to Uranus brings unexpected changes in our communication and how we think, but it can also bring sudden insight. So behaviours can, be unpredictable with this energy, but also, as I said, the Moon in Cancer positively, allows us to look after our psychological, spiritual, relationship well-being, but it can make us moody as well. And we can just, seek things that are comforting, stay in our comfort zone. And a lot of energy this week wants to get us outside of our comfort zone, So Mars' square to Uranus allows us to think outside of the box and concentrate and follow through on our plans, so that's really, really good. It reminds us to use the unpredictability of events that may come up at this time to remain flexible, be open-minded, and to be mentally flexible and to embrace the excitement, allowing your mind to wander into creativity and experimenting with new ideas and being being open to unconventional perspectives and people and doing things outside of your comfort zone, right? And this can bring great rewards, although it can be scary. On the 11th of February, Mercury makes a biquintal to Mars at 5:40, and Mercury is in Capricorn and Mars is in Gemini. Mercury enters Aquarius at 7:25, and the Sun makes a square to Uranus as well at 7:30 in the evening. So when the Sun makes a square to Uranus, the Sun's in Capricorn and Uranus is in Aries. So Mercury's biquintal to Mars is subtle energy, and it allows us to be more assertive inwardly, flexible. It gives us motivation to communicate our ideas effectively, so supporting the main energies of this week, allowing us to be creative, take the initiative and have productive conversations and work well with others as well. But we just need to watch out to rush our thoughts or come on too strong with others in relationships with our demands. We have to balance assertiveness with patience, and this will increase the outcomes of our conversations and interactions and stuff. It allows us to just be more open-minded, which is really good. Mercury goes into Aquarius, and this supports us being innovative in our thinking and unconventional in our ideas, and increases our intellectual curiosity and promotes working with others, especially those who are different to us, so it's a great energy for brainstorming and networking, but negatively, erratic communication, saying things without meaning them, or being detached, and a lack of focus and gossiping, talking for talking sake can lead to misunderstandings, adding to the tensions I already talked about this week. So the best use of this energy is to explore new technologies, be forward thinking, and to be open to different opinions. The Sun's square to Uranus adds to the unpredictability and disruptions that can happen, but it's just supporting us to get outside of our comfort zone and make changes in our daily routine that are necessary for our self-discovery and personal growth and emotional, spiritual and psychological understanding and management, and just forgiveness for ourselves and others, and moving on from our past and creating the future. It wants us to have a deeper understanding of our individuality and move forward and be open-minded and be rebellious. And although it can make us restless and impulsive, key to this energy is to explore the new year. On the 12th of February, the Sun makes a biquintal to Mars. There's a full moon at 1:54. The moon void, of course, starts at 1:54. The moon enters Leo at 2:06. So the moon's void, of course, for 12 minutes, and then the Sun enters Aquarius at 4:28 a.m. So I've done a separate audio about the moon in Cancer and Leo, so if you want to listen to that, check out the separate audio in the playlist. The Sun's biquintal to Mars adds to the creativity and confidence of this week, allowing us to take courageous actions, especially in the areas where we want to be an individual, right? And it wants us to focus on our passions, starting that hobby, having that conversation, working through our problems. It really gives us that charisma, that energy, that vibe. People can be drawn to us, we can be drawn to other people. So it's a great energy to, meet new people, to go on that date, and don't ignore red flags, don't not take safety precautions, be safe but be open as well. But we just need to watch out for, people being competitive right now, my pair of shoes is better than your shoes and all of that, or my handwriting's better, or my chat's better, or whatever, I don't know, but so we just need to watch out for this competitive energy. Remember, the only competition you need to be in is with yourself, becoming better than who you were. Everyone goes at their own speed, we're all individuals, right? So don't waste your energy in trying to compete with others. When the Sun moves into Aquarius, it allows us to be more progressive, and it also promotes us with working with others, being more charitable, humanitarian, thinking about the greater whole, working for social justice and being, caring for those in different groups to us and underprivileged and stuff like that as well. And it can just, just make us feel like we want to give as well as receive. But on the negative, we can be detached from our feelings and be emotionally aloof and unpredictable, and this can be, cause arguments. The best use of this energy is to, try and just be honest. If you need time out, if you made plans for a date night, you don't want to do it, be honest rather than just cancel and not show up. Do not ghost. If you ghost, you may be made into toast, something like that. Just be mindful of other people's needs and your needs as well, and the importance of emotional connection and clarity and honesty in personal relationships. When the moon moves into Leo, it allows us to show off our talents, allow ourselves to shine and socialise, but we just need to watch out for being too attention seeking and being too dramatic. And the full moon allows us to just and wants us to sort of like start things anew, nurture our emotions. Although it moves into Leo, it starts off in Cancer. It wants us to get validation from within rather than seek validation from without, and it also supports us in having a sense of community and wanting to work and share our time with those who we care about. On the 13th of February, Mercury makes a semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node, Mercury makes a semi-sextile to Neptune, and Venus makes a contra-parallel to Saturn at 10:54, and I talked about Venus's contra-parallel to Saturn at the beginning of the week. So the Moon's North Node and Mercury's semi-sextile happens when Mercury's in Aquarius and the Moon's North Node is in Pisces, and Mercury's semi-sextile to Neptune happens when Neptune's in Pisces as well, and both of these energies last us up until the end of the week, the next couple of days. So Mercury's semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node and Neptune allows us to tune into the complex, subtle, nuanced quality of communication. So pay more attention to, body movements, eye movements, body language, stuff like that, the words in between words. It allows us to, tap into that psychic energy in our exchange, and we can just be intuitive and have more empathy and compassion for other people's emotional needs right now. It supports us and wants us to express our ideas and goals and aspirations clearly in our conversations, and not hide what we want, and be open to listening to other people's needs right now. It allows us to take a more imaginative and open-minded, intuitive approach to problem solving in our relationships, and allows us to balance being practical with being creative and being open to innovative solutions and deeper insights. And it just provides great energy for both professional and personal development as well. On the 14th of February, nothing happens apart from the moon going into void, of course, at 1:53. And then on the 15th of February, the moon enters Virgo at 15 minutes past midnight. The moon's north node goes direct at 6:54 a.m. The sun's parallel to Mercury is exact at 9:55 a.m. today, and I talked about that at the beginning of the week. Mercury makes a sextile quadrant to Mars at 8:07, and Mercury makes a semi-sextile to Pluto at 8:59. So these energies all last us up till about the 17th of February. So Mercury's semi-sextile to Pluto happens when Mercury's in Aquarius and Pluto's in Pisces, and Mercury's semi-squadrate to Mars happens when Mars is in Gemini. So the moon's north node going direct allows us to align with our higher aspirations and goals, and use the opportunities that come our way, work on finding or removing the blocks to us achieving our longer term goals, our life purpose, aligning with the things we want to do. As the moon goes into Virgo, relationships and social dynamics may take center stage. We may also be more focused on our day-to-day tasks. It allows us over the next couple of days as we go into the weekend to think about what worked for us this week, what didn't work, to be analytical but not too logical, but encourages us to seek harmony and balance within our connections, but within ourselves, to be diplomatic, to find diplomatic resolutions to our problems as well, and develop partnerships that align with our goals, or to talk about couple goals or friendship goals or any other relationship relationship, business relationship that you're in, whatever, and to really get down on the fine details and cooperate and try to take into account everybody's needs, It allows us to, get to the bottom of things. We just need to watch out, because Virgo energy can make us over critical and perfectionistic, and we've already got a lot of energy doing that this week as well. So we just need to watch out for being too hard on ourselves and others, and giving ourselves some praise for what we have achieved this week, and having gratitude for even the small things, because even if life is crap, there's always something we can be grateful for, And Mercury sextile quadrant to Mars can add to impulsive communication and heated debates as we close down into the weekend. So we just need to watch out and be cautious in our relationships, and when we are talking about those hard issues, but not running away from them. Just practice active listening and being open to hearing both sides of every argument, because there's always two sides to a story, at least, And Mercury semi-sextile to Pluto allows us to be open in our dialogue, in our conversations, and practice patience in our exchanges positively, but it adds to the power struggles and secretive conversations. Secrets can come out. People can just be more manipulative. It's energy which can, because it's semi-sextile, we can work through our joint resource issues and stuff like that as well. Maybe research the deeper meanings in life, spirituality, our inner psychology, the things we repress, our kinks and stuff like that may come up, the stuff that we're trying to bury right now may come to the surface with this energy, but do not feel panicked or ashamed of anything, just know that we were all allowed to express ourselves as long as it's safe for ourselves and others, and we respect other people's boundaries. Everyone's got a kink, right? So, if anything that you've been repressing, or especially sexually, comes up now, or psychologically, try not to beat yourself up over that, just try and be open to you and others' needs right now, and it allows us to be attuned to the nuances, the subtle body language, the words that we don't say, the tones and stuff like that in our conversations, and we can just try and find a balance between being assertive and diplomatic, but it just provides us the energy that we need to sort of work with transformative energy of Pluto in our Mercury in our communications, the semi-sextile. So even though there can be some difficulty, because Pluto's here, the semi-sextile allows us to have that nice flow between that Mercury kind of curious energy and that Pluto transformative energy, So ultimately, we've got the full moon energy. The moon's in Virgo now. It allows us to pay more attention to detail, thinking about the things we want to let go of. The full moon's all about release, right? It wants us to pay careful attention this week, improve our health, and be more grounded and productive in our day-to-day routine, looking at our nutrition, the things we eat, the habits that we do, the way we serve others, the way others serve us, or the lack of service of others to us, and why we don't serve others. And sometimes there's a good reason. Like sometimes people can take too much, but we can find healthy ways to help others. Maybe Virgo energy service, maybe by volunteering on a mental health or other helpline. People are going through struggles or turning for help. You may be for going through struggles. This energy is good for sorting through our responsibilities, setting up plans, and creating order in our surroundings, tidying up our home, our bedroom, whatever, and also in our, getting order into our daily routine and our daily thoughts and actions and relationships as well. So yeah, that's the end of this analysis from the 9th to the 15th of February. I'm Amani, your holistic astrological life coach. Take care and see you next week.